All it took was one lousy debate for the Russian propaganda machine to not only ramp up, but this time to come completely out in the open with Putin himself. And is there a better measurement of just how successful Russian propaganda has been since 2016? That Putin is not despised in this country? And the people who should be hating him the most, the heartland Americans from the red states, are now embracing him. So I guess, former comrade and head of KGB, has redefined what it means to be red here in America. I'm going to show a clip of Putin coming out in the open to throw another election to Donald Trump. But first, let's just do a little review. Russian propaganda has been flooding social media after January 6th. How else do you turn violent insurrectionists into heroes, except by floating a constant stream of memes and disinformation and giving right-wing politicians like Donald Trump tested material that will work effectively? And without a doubt, the most successful thing Russian propaganda has done this election cycle is create artificial support for Trump. Trump rallies are supposed to be so huge, and yet no matter how much officials say that this space can only hold 3,000 people, Trump's team and Russian propaganda spread the lie that it was 30,000. And rally after rally, the inevitable footage surfaces showing people leaving the event while Trump is gibbering on, and that the majority of the space is empty. And yet, that never really seems to matter to our mainstream media. And so the propaganda machine keeps churning it out. We are told that black men are leaving Trump in droves. And then conveniently, Trump held a rally at a black church in Detroit. The next day, mainstream media was full of coverage on how successful the rally in a black church was and how black Detroiters were so appreciative that Trump actually came into the inner city. A couple of days later, the real story came out. The church was filled with white suburban Trumpers, and it wasn't even full. So make no mistake about it, the Russian propaganda machine has been working even harder this election cycle than they were in 2016. And oh yes, then they worked with the Brexit referendum too. Remember Brexit? Yes, well guess what the Brits discovered? Russian propaganda interfered in that election too. And of course, there's always the polls. Trump, we are told, is ahead in every battleground state. And after the debate, he's absolutely increasing the lead. The New York Times and The Atlantic are both howling for Biden to step down, backed by the new polling data they have. What they refuse to acknowledge, however, is how polling data is influenced by the Russian propaganda machine. The mainstream media promised us they learned their lesson from 2016, and now it's clear that they fundamentally have not. Here's video of that increasing popularity at a July 4th celebration in suburban Atlanta. There is virtually no one at Trump's booth, and a lot of people at the Biden booth. So, yep, more footage showing the reality of what's going on versus the fake reality that Russian propaganda and right-wing media are pushing along. Well, Russian propaganda might be savoring their success a little too much because Putin has come out into the open to start supporting Trump. Take a look at Putin during a press conference and listen to what he has to say.
Well, the fact that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate, says that he's ready and wants to stop the war in Ukraine, we take that very seriously. Well, I haven't seen his ideas on how exactly he's going to do that, and that is the key question. But I have no doubt that he says that sincerely, and we support that.
How much more out in the open can you be in terms of supporting Trump? But the important thing here is not so much supporting Trump, but in supporting Trump's lie. During the CNN media show that some are calling a debate, Trump boasted that he could end the Russia-Ukraine war in one day. And what was the media follow-up the next day? You guessed it. So here we have a foreign leader backing the so-called Trump peace plan and saying that he does not know what it is, but, well, all right. First of all, ever notice that the only foreign leaders who appear to respect Donald Trump are dictators? Putin, Kim, and the like? That's quite a club there, Donnie. Good for you. Funny how you don't see the same level of respect from European leaders, though. And Putin saying he does not know what the plan is? Yes, he does. We all know what Trump's plan for Ukraine is. He's going to tell Ukraine to enter a ceasefire and give up all the land Russia has taken in exchange for peace. And he's going to try and coerce them to do it by saying no more U.S. aid, period. No military aid, no humanitarian aid, and no economic aid unless they surrender. That is Trump's peace plan. Well, Putin has been floating that idea through Russian propaganda for years. Only now, Putin has a chump with a big enough platform to start really getting it out there. And to carry it through if Trump wins the election. And it's not like congressional Republicans would stand up to Trump on anything, let alone Ukraine. And it won't stop there either. Trump will lift sanctions on Russia and allow it to recover from what has been a disastrous mistake. Russia will be able to rebuild its army and its munitions, and even more frightening, retool for the wars of the future. Because one of the things Russia found out the hard way is that Cold War era weaponry is quickly becoming obsolete. Tanks, helicopters, warships are all incredibly vulnerable to a new generation of drones. When a $250,000 drone can take out a billion-dollar warship, Russia is going to have to sit down and re-strategize, especially if they've gotten out from under the disastrous invasion that they started. Now more than ever, we have to keep circulating that a vote for Trump is a vote for Putin, and we have to get out and vote. But we need to do more than vote. Join the informal 5 for 5 campaign. Pull 4 of your like-minded friends together, and each of you bring in one person who was not going to vote and get them to vote blue. Never mind trying to persuade your Trumper family members. That's not going to happen. But get a group of 5 together. Identify people you know who are non-voters and persuade them to go to the polls on November 5th. It's the easiest thing you can do to save democracy. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.